Good, thanks, Stace.
Hi, Laura. Hi, Ruby.
Hi.
Okay, so the purpose of our Google Meet today is to lead on from last week and discuss communication and work in the community service environment. So I just want to do a quick 15-minute training session around active listening, and I will present my screen so you guys can view a PowerPoint. Now, because I'm presenting, I'm not going to be able to see the chat icon like I usually can. So I'll need you guys, when you want to participate, to unmute your microphones and participate that way. Just be mindful of background noise during the presentation, and if you guys want to keep your microphones on mute, unless you're going to contribute or answer questions, that would be great. So I'll just present my screen now. And we will commence the active listening presentation. Okay, guys, so oral communication techniques to build rapport and establish relationships. Active listening. Now, just as a way to test your microphones, I want you guys to spend a couple of minutes viewing this picture and naming as many movies as you can that you can see that's represented within that. So we'll start, maybe if we give each other 10 seconds to name as many movies. And Ruby, if you want to start, and Laura, you can do the 10 seconds and count when that 10 seconds is up. So I'll say start for you, Ruby, and you name as many movies as you can in 10 seconds. Okay?
Okay, starting now.
Hold on a moment. Laura, you say stop in 10 seconds from the time I say start, okay? All right, Ruby, start.
Halloween, Back to the Future, Star Wars, Scream, Men in Black.
Oh, okay, that was 5 movies, I think. Ruby, how many did you count?
Me?
Yep, did you count your movies? I counted 5.
I didn't count them, I just said them.
That's fine. Okay, so if we want to reverse roles now, and Laura, you have a look at that screen. Now, the trick is you can't say the same 5 movies because you actually have an advantage. You were able to look at the screen while Ruby was saying those movies. So, Ruby, you say stop, 10 seconds from the moment I say start. Start.
V for Vendetta, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Minion movie, I don't know what it's called.
Stop.
Star Wars.
Oh, 4, because the Minions movie is actually called, I can't actually remember what that movie is. Can you remember?
It Minion? I thought it was Minions, the Minions. Wasn't it?
Despicable Me?
The Minions?
They brought out a new Minions movie, didn't they? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so that's a bit of an icebreaker that sometimes I'll play with my learners and my groups as a bit of a recharge activity. All right, so recapping last session, guys, we spoke about the elements of oral communication and that those elements can be broken down into 3 main sections according to Albert Mehrabian, he was a psychology lecturer. So body language actually accounts for 38% of that oral interpretation process. Your tone, your pitch, and your volume accounts for 38% of that process. And the words that we say are reflective of around 7% of that interpretation process. Now, leading on from the elements of oral communication, we need to apply active listening. And active listening for community service workers is an imperative part of the way that we can engage and establish and build rapport with the client and their families. So active listening is a crucial skill in building and maintaining client-centred relationships. Active listening allows us to gain the information that we require, and active listening means that we can understand the whole message that is being sent to us. It assists us to clarify information, and it demonstrates that we as workers are engaged, listening and responsive. So I'll get you to unmute your microphones for a moment. Want you guys to have a think of a time that you were, as a speaker, trying to get a message across to someone that you worked with or in a work-like context, and the indicators around that the person wasn't engaged in that conversation. How did you know? What was it that they demonstrated within their body language or their tone that showed you that you were talking to a brick wall? The message just was not getting across.
Well, I've in the past had an experience with a colleague where I was trying to explain a procedure and she was actually working on something else while I was doing that and visibly completely disengaged.
Yep.
For me, I've had conversations at times with staff, and it a clear indication that then the person's not listening or applying the active listening is huffing and puffing, rolling their eyes.
Right.
Yeah, looking elsewhere, having their arms folded. Yeah.
Yeah, and those indicators are spot on. That's exactly right. And it can really create communication barriers, whereas you don't want to continue talking when you can see that person just is not listening. So yeah, great contribution, guys. Now I'll quickly go back to the presentation and present again. I just wanted to get your feedback on what your experiences were around that. And how do you think how do you respond to disengaged communication? How do you re-engage someone through attempting to get them to active listen to what you're saying?
So for me, I acknowledge that that they may not be in the right frame of mind or prepared to have that discussion at that present time, and ask them how I can, when would be a better time to have that discussion, because I need them to participate in the discussion.
Yeah, great. So taking into account that sometimes people aren't engaged in that moment due to external or internal factors, that actually they already have that communication barrier there. Definitely right, Ruby. Fantastic. Is there anything you wanted to add, Laura?
With the cohort I work with, I basically try and throw in something a little bit different and just say, look, we're having a little bit of trouble with this activity, but we're going to come back to it, and give the guys just a little bit of time to think about what it is we're doing and become more comfortable with the process.
Great. Okay, we just want to watch a little bit of a movie here, just a clip, which is just really reinforcing what you guys have already said. Can you hear the screen? Are you guys getting the audio on that?
I'm walking along, and my friend Dom is
Yeah.
and he's describing this really cool idea he has for ASG. But instead of paying attention to what he's saying, I'm looking at posters, the really cool posters on the wall, and my phone buzzes, so I pick it up and I continue that conversation from last night. And then I turn to Dom, and he's like, wouldn't that be cool? And I go, wait, what would be cool? I realized that I was not engaging with the person who was right beside me. And that was not good. And so now my to implement this thing called active listening. And 3 words come to my mind when I think of active listening. And they are be here now. Seize the moment. Live in this moment. Listen to the person who's right beside you. So to do this, I put away all distractions. I shove my phone in my pocket, get rid of that poster in my head. And then I use my face and my body to convey that I'm open and interested in what this person is trying to communicate. I make eye contact with them. Now, I don't stare them down because, let's be honest, staring somebody down might be a little intimidating coming from someone who's 5 feet tall. So, I occasionally make eye contact. I uncross my hands, unclench my fists, let them know that I'm here to listen to them. And then when they're all done finishing up their thought, I wrap it all up. So, what you're saying is, and it gives them a chance to go, no, you got it all wrong. This is what I'm saying. And then they'll re-explain it all over again. And I'll go, okay, so what you really mean is this. And they'll go, yes, you understand, you get it. Thank you for listening to me. Listening is such a powerful tool. It conveys to people that you are here to listen to them, that you're not preoccupied.
All right, so I'm not going to go right through that clip. You guys will have access to this presentation and the PowerPoint, so you can refer back to it. Now, how important is it as a community worker to demonstrate those skills that were just discussed in that clip? You know, how often is it that these people have had to tell their story over and over again? And as a first point of contact worker, as a community worker, we need to have that empathetic approach to how we communicate, and we need to demonstrate that we're giving that those verbal listening skills, where we're understanding, we're reading between the lines. A lot of the times with the people that we deal with, they don't always say things with their words. We need to watch that body language, and we need to validate the fact that we're really listening and addressing their needs through our communication. Okay, so the next clip is a bit of an infograph, and it just demonstrates and explains the 5 key elements of active listening. So as you just seen in that clip, paying attention, showing that you're listening, providing feedback and deferring judgment, and responding appropriately. We need to be able to demonstrate effective communication skills. I'm just going to present my screen again. Do you guys have anything to say about that clip? No? All right, so I'll just present the PowerPoint again. So this is the infograph I was just referring to. So paying attention, giving the speaker your undivided attention and acknowledging the message, recognising that non-verbal communication also speaks loudly. As I just said, reading between those lines, so often we have to pick up on those little body language signals, and even the way that these guys communicate through their dress sense, and their different moods are reflected in that at times. Show that you're listening. Use your own body language and gestures to show that you are engaged, not occasionally. Smile and use positive facial expressions. Sometimes I think with that we've also got to be mindful of the shock value in our own face, and having that ability to have a poker face at times. Encouraging the speaker to continue with small verbal comments like yes and aha. They're your paralinguistic cues. Use them. It validates that you're listening. Providing feedback, knowing that you're being listened to by having what you have said being summarised back to you, being able to clarify that information. And sometimes, again, because our filters and assumptions and judgments can impact the way that we perceive a message, we have to clarify that information. Deferring judgment, using that unconditional positive regard, allowing that speaker to finish each point before asking a question. Don't interrupt with counter arguments. And again, responding appropriately. So active listening is designed to encourage respect and understanding. You're gaining information and perspective. You add nothing by attacking the speaker or otherwise putting them down. You need to be honest in your response and respectful. You need to assert your opinions, again, in a respectful way, and you need to treat that other person in a way that you think he or she would want to be treated. Oh. Okay. So it does take a lot of concentration and determination to be an active listener. We need to be aware of what distractions that we have, and old habits are hard to break. If your listening skills are as bad as what some other people's are, then you'll need to do a lot of work to break those habits. And there's 5 key techniques that I'll just quickly review. Paying attention, showing that you're listening, providing feedback, deferring judgment, and responding appropriately. And a lot of that is applied through positive communication. Okay, so I'll just stop sharing. Now, in a work context, I want you to put yourself in a listener's position. If you were told a set of instructions, but you actually weren't paying attention to and actively listening to those instructions, what can be the barriers to communication there? What can be the consequence of not having those active listening skills? Laura?
Well, I mean, like, I run an employability skills training course, and I always tell my students that it's really important that they actively listen, and if they haven't understood something, they ask the question. The reason for that is the employer's going to respect their honesty, and it's also going to cost them less money to fix a mistake. So in my eyes, it is very important to, like you say, use your active listening skills.
Oh, great response. Absolutely. Okay, fantastic. So just as a final note, again, you guys will get access to that presentation, the PowerPoint, and we've got this on recording, so you'll be able to refer back to this. Just as a bit of a knowledge topic quiz, you guys have been sent a Kahoot invitation. It's just a quick online quiz that you guys can answer questions and I gain feedback on that. And there's also a bit of a training feedback around the delivery of the training and how your experience personally was in regards to that. So guys, I'm going to wrap it up very shortly. Do you have anything to add or any questions that I can address while the recording's still going? No?
No, it's very, very useful information. Thank you, Stacey.
Okay, great. So our next session will be a follow-up from that, and it'll be around how we deal with clients in a crisis and the sort of communication skills that we can apply to be assertive and with that calm disposition and try not to escalate that situation any further. All right, fantastic. So check your emails. You will get that Kahoot feedback form. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, I'll stop the recording. I don't know.